a little bit of troubles, and maybe some desperation in the back of minds.
I mean, hey, we're talking about teams that have performed very well coming out of heat. PeterBot, Pollo, of course, dominating their situation. And as we all know, the eyes have been on them ever since, what, at least the last 2 years or so. They've continued to do so well. But there's a different dynamic when we start looking at the reload as a game mode, right? This is such a different type of playstyle. You can play faster. You can do crazy things like split up and actually push one another. And I might dare to say that NA is off to a crazy start if Pollo actually gets straight off first.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we're going to see here in Reload. You see Pollo immediately using that mobility to rotate to the north part of the map, knowing that PeterBot is going to continue to farm up. He's going to get the materials. I didn't think it would be Pollo on the hunt. This is 2026. This is how this team is evolving. But with Pollo going down, you're seeing more and more players. You see it on the mini-map here, rotating in and around Slurpy Swamp. This has become a dangerous situation for both PeterBot and Pollo because it means that players might be lacking a little respect where they deserve all the respect in the game.
Listen, at the end of the day, sometimes Fortnite is just a game of inches. Take every advantage you can get and steamroll your way into a powerful endgame. So we'll see how that ends up holding back potentially. PeterBot and Pollo here as 𝐒𝐿 and 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐄, as we all know, is contesting just that northern side now, starting to inch their way down southwards, trying to see if they can get in on the action here.
Yeah, a lot of time, a lot of space. Just kind of looking around the map, seeing some of our teams that qualified for this event have been doing. Cold and Rapid. Interesting for Steamy Stacks. Leading up into this tournament, I saw it was triple contested. I was a little worried. And then it was just a regular contested. I was like, okay, maybe this is manageable. Game day starts, Cold and Rapid now uncontested at their drop spot. There might be some players near or around, but this is where you see the respect that they've gained. And they won 2 games in the same heat as PeterBot and Pollo, so it goes to show, hey, it doesn't matter who is in their path, they're ready to take them out.
You might be seeing some new faces possibly on your screen as you see there. Some of these folks are looking to just work their way towards their first ever potential lane coming up. But first, you got to win your way through these fights here. Just north of the lockdown, we have enough in text, just trying to see what they can make happen. But 𝐒𝐷 hot on the hunt here. On the other side, it's Cold and Rapid getting absolutely active. Man, Cold is one of those hyper impressive players. You just give him an inch, he'll take a mile, and he's already pushing his way straight through this team, determining all types of action here, cutting off the sides as well. Jacob, how do you think this is going to fare?
I mean, this is looking good already for Rapid and Cold. They got the confidence. They know they're isolated on the side of the map. They get that first elimination. No worries. Med smoke, siphon, med kits, the dropping of the minis as well. It's going to take them no time at all to get back up to tip-top shape. So you're seeing how the action on the north side of the map is faring out. Pollo's down. PeterBot having to be the hero in this situation. He does get the knock on to Flex to save the day. So already, Pollo going down twice here in game number 1.
Yeah, someone call a doctor. He might need a little temperature check there. Not the usual Pollo, losing some of these fights here. But first, let's jump in with the recently signed Acorn, hopping on over to Twisted Minds here. Alongside Bolts right now. Looking good so far here. There are 9 FNCS champions in the lobby here. Reload really bringing the action. Continue to, of course, give the pros something to look forward to as we're out of the main season.
And already you got exotic weapons, you got the slurp juice as well, and you know season pass how powerful and game-changing those slurp juices can be at any given moment. But again, a lot of these uncontested teams that we're seeing around the map faring very, very well. Josh and 𝐒𝐲𝐻𝐿 maybe stepping a little bit too far forward. Josh going for an elim. He gets taken down by PeterBot and Pollo. And not only is that 3 points for the elimination, we know how rocky a road it's been for Pollo so far. That's a boost in their loadout.
Look at the dynamic at play here. Josh Riley falls to the hands of Pollo. Finally, he gets his hands dirty there. Manages to put up a point. 𝐒𝐲𝐻𝐿 on the other side, just trying to continue to gather himself here, staying out of the action. Doesn't want to, of course, catch himself out of whack there and catch himself eliminated. Jumping back into the storm, though, or just safe over here to the south. The fight that I think everyone was hoping would happen here.
Yeah, there are so many barrels here, both big and small. There's slurp trucks. Even though it's not in the zone now, you know a lot of players will rotate back here to try to get the extra HP and shields that they might have missed. But a little bit of a slow pay coming out this time around. PeterBot making sure to take a more calculated approach to this one, trying to play for that piece control. Here's Pollo in a fight towards the outside against 𝐒𝐔𝐁, and you see him immediately change direction to try to lend a helping hand.
Got to be careful here. Now we're talking about the upper echelon of what NA has to offer here. PeterBot and Pollo already playing the side angle clicks. Opting to stay tucked away inside. Just complete control this low ground domain here. And they know who is exactly pushing on the outside of the walls here. You have to guess that 𝐒𝐷s and 𝐒𝐔𝐷s are just looking to maintain composure and hopefully push him back out.
Yeah, good shot by 𝐒𝐷s, but PeterBot having that slurp chuck right behind him. 100 of heals, whether if it's HP or shield, so he's gonna be back up like never took that shot in the first place. And you gotta take a mention right here of 𝐒𝐷s and his loadout. He has all the shield in the world, but you gotta imagine that building farmed free of all the slurp barrels, so getting HP back for 𝐒𝐷s is not going to be easy. So huge advantage on over to PeterBot on the side, flank coming in from 𝐒𝐷s. Good opportunity there to cause a little bit of confusion onto PeterBot, getting him to reposition, but Pollo doing the same thing, taking that extra angle, trying to force them to make a mistake.
I gotta say, this is absolutely impressive play by 𝐒𝐷s. Look at that. Makes his way to the vending machine as well. Gets a couple hits, but notice he takes no damage in this exchange right now. 𝐒𝐷s playing at an absolute elite level here in this series. 𝐒𝐷s now forced to go toe-to-toe with Pollo, back and forth. Looking for the piece control for the high ground wall there, but nothing just yet. Somewhat of a stalemate on all sides here.
Yeah, and you can kind of see all of them thinking long haul, all of them going to farm and re-farm where they can. Even though they have about 200, 300 extra builds, they know this fight has already taken a little bit longer than they'd hope, and that's why you see the disengagements coming out. I talked about the extra barrels, the extra utility that you can gain, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They've wasted a lot of materials and some of their heals in that fight, so they realize, hey, is the 3 points worth it? 6 if we get the wipe? Probably not this early in the game.
Yeah, definitely not when you have 𝐒𝐷s playing that well, but for 𝐸 and 𝐾𝐻Ada, another team we expect to do exceptionally well here, leaning into the release, or this reload elite series here. Looking pretty solid right now, just finding their way into the edge of the zone, and again, the pacing really does start to pick up. You really don't catch a break when it comes to the reload mode. It is non-stop action, whether you're fighting for your drop or fighting for some new key positioning. Everyone is going to be pushing further and further, and they're going to be more willing to, of course, take risk here.
It's kind of been their plan all along. I think it's kind of why they like steamy stacks. If it goes over to their side of the map, they got free high ground thanks to the stacks. If it pulls away, they have launch pads, they have the actual steamy stacks. You mix that with the flowberry fizz, which means they get a free rotation just like this to the slower side of the zone. It hasn't even opened up yet, and in theory there could be 1 or 2 players, maybe a team nearby, but most chances are they're going to have an uncontested side of the map, Rapid and Cold playing 2, 3 steps ahead of the game at this point.
Yeah, I like what we're seeing right here. On the other side, 𝐤's just sitting pretty. Not the greatest loadout, but med miss is, of course, the name of the game here. Still full 20 team standing, as we all know. There will be a cutoff point coming up here shortly where teams will not be able to spawn back in, essentially. So notice how the pacing really starting to slow down now. You cannot afford to make any more mistakes here.
Yeah, I like the way you said that reboots are about to shut off, and they know exactly that. That's exactly why you don't want to get eliminated here, even if you can come back, because Monster, where are you going to land? And let's just say hypothetically you do find a spot on the ground to call safe. What loot are you going to get? And that's why you're seeing a lot of precautions being taken very, very early on. Acorn and Bolts, they know they got a far rotation to go, but Acorn's sitting and waiting for these teams to rotate out. They're going to land some shots, and then they're going to combine the flowberry fizz with their crash pad to try to get as close to the zone in 1 hop as possible.
One of my favorite up-and-coming teams here, now veterans in the space. I think it's fair to say we could put the tag on Shadows, as he's made his way through his 3rd year as he continues to approach his way final to final. And hey, look, it was a hard road, a hard journey for most teams to even get this far. We saw some major upsets as we went through the heats and the qualifiers. So all of these teams here, of course, are the exceptional. But zone ending towards Dirty Docks. This is going to be some very interesting dynamic at play here, as half of it's inside the water. So if the map wasn't small enough already, now you have some water to contend with.
Yeah, that's just a blessing right there. Couldn't ask for a better zone if you're Paper and Rezi. They land over towards Dirty Dogs, haven't had to move far. The battle continues with PeterBot, Pollo probably rotating close by 𝐒𝐷s and 𝐒𝐔𝐷s. They're going to get the damage, probably push them off. You can see PeterBot and Pollo place 468 in open, the lowest of any duo in finals. That just goes to show when it comes to 2026, we know how good PeterBot and Pollo can actually be. It's just the slow start for some reason put doubts in people's minds. But when you saw them play in heats, back-to-back-to-back wins, I was even thinking they could win all 8. They are back and ready to qualify today.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you want to just get it out the way, get that quad locked in. One less thing to worry about, but back on over to 𝐒𝐔𝐷s and 𝐶liq. So let's just go ahead and assess the situation. How much damage was that extended fight as far as it put on their loadout stress here? Doesn't seem like too much. They seem to be faring relatively solid here overall, Jacob. So 𝐒𝐔𝐷s does have plenty to play with here coming into the end game. I was a bit concerned, right? You start looking at how long those fights start to take. Really puts a question mark on whether or not a team has enough in the gas tank to go ahead and make it to the finish line. So far so good on high ground. See Cold and Rapid here, the first to go ahead and take a little gander off to the highs.
Yeah, and this is where we're going to start rotating back and forth with these moving zones. You're seeing it move over to Dirty Dogs. We're going to take a move towards the south, a little bit towards the west, and it's not going to be too drastic of elevation changes, but with the shock waves and how much chaos they can bring into the game, it is definitely something you got to watch out for. PeterBot and Pollo, you see them going from a max pull all the way in. King and Jargu got to make that same rotation along with Curve and 𝐒𝐷s.
Yeah, here's the thing, when MedMist in play, you can do a lot of, or you have a lot of optionality, I should say, right? You could play deep in the zone, wait for it to kind of come towards you. You can stay back if you really want to, and then go ahead and utilize shockwaves to make an ambush and a fight for high ground. But for now, folks are trying to get to this first zone. Pay attention, guys. It's going to end before you know it. Things start to move really quickly here. One duo or player eliminated already. Bolts and Acorn trying to gather their footing here as they find themselves in the new zone. Playing the ultimate low, still max material. Bolts. Nice little side angle here. That mythic rifle in absolute pressure there.
Yeah, it has that added bonus effect where you keep landing shots. It deals more and more damage. So for Bolts, that's going to allow them to control a side of the zone. Not all 4 sides by any means, but they can pressure teams, push them out, get them to waste the materials. Acorn thinking ahead. Again, constantly moving forward, staying ahead of the zone. Look at the minimap, how far ahead they are away from everybody else. But from one side in the front, PeterBot and Pollo with that max pull in the back side of the zone. You see them peeking through, looking up, possibly spotting out both Cold and Rapid, waiting for a couple other players to rotate before they make one of their own.
Absolutely clean tech right there. Quick, easy, fast rotate, not even overexposing themselves. And now looking to turn on the pressure here. And this is really interesting if you think about it. The early game is, of course, reload. The end game is like back to high-level competition. Don't fall. No mistakes can be made here. Drum gun from Cold's hands. Just putting absolute pressure here from top. And you already know, once you're kind of situated here, all you got to do is spray and pray. But shockwaving teams are, of course, going to be the biggest threat to anyone right now.
Yeah, Cold just watching that team shockwave up with the Flowberry Fizz. Doesn't worry about them. And that's the thing, like you were saying, you could put a lot of pressure down with the drum gun. It's just the accuracy and actually hitting the shots. You're going to find a little issues. As Bolt and Acorn, it wasn't a shockwave. They combined that Flowberry Fizz with the launch pads to try to get out of render distance. Hopefully players go down below, but they realize as they close the distance in Cold and Rapid on the high ground, got to beeline it to try to find some safety. Cold and Rapid are keeping their head on the swivel. They've been playing. They know the shockwaves. They know the threats around every one of these corners down below.
Listen, if there's one thing that we know is that they're going to be able to put that pressure down here from up top, and I see Miss and they see, of course, an opportunity to put the targets on the limelight here. But look, PeterBot, Pollo opting to the ultimate low. This is not what we expected of them, and that's because they don't have any shockwaves here to mess with at the moment. So instead, they're going to play the low ground here, looking to rack up some points. And remember, every elimination now is going to be worth a full set of 3+ placement here just around the corner.
It looks like 𝐒𝐔𝐷s it up, tried to take on Cold Rapid at the high ground, and it does not work. They tried to chop them down. They've got themselves a few seconds, but 𝐒𝐔𝐷s just got separated. Cold and Rapid 2v1 took them down, and now look at them maintain their position up above, reconnect while they can, but you see they're drastically running out of those hard materials down to the wood. Anybody's going to know they're weak as Acorn does the same thing. Him and Bolts will flying by, but Cold and Rapid once again defend their high ground.
They're doing excellent work here, managing to maintain this position here, and 𝐒𝐲 still finds his footing here. Meanwhile, 𝐿𝐷𝐿 and 𝐷𝐿 just starting to turn online. Finally, they find themselves elimination and some place points to come with it. This is going to go ahead and be probably the beginning of the end for some. On the high ground, though, PeterBot finally goes up top. He finds a way through and just finds his way onto the pressure here, putting themselves inside the med miss there as 𝐿𝐷𝐿. No HP here, Jacob. It's not looking too hot.
You want my high ground? You're gonna have to pry it from my fingers, is what he's saying. Oh my! He takes down PeterBot. Pollo's down as well, but out of nowhere, he comes crashing for the elimination, and he's gonna get the revive somehow, some way. They once again do the impossible.
And he picks him up, and Pollo, PeterBot back in the game now, 3 eliminations for each of them here. All of a sudden now, what looked like the end is an opportunity for life for this duo up top. Pollo now jumps down, he sees some extra HP, tries to grab the mats there. That was a desperate attempt to put them back in the game. And who has a med miss? Their health is so low here. What are they gonna do? They do have the Flowberry Fizz. This is their last opportunity to cap off and try to close this game out.
Yeah, there's a bunch of duos still alive, but some of them getting ripped apart from their team. 𝐒𝐷𝐿 falls, 𝐿𝐷𝐿 falls shortly after. You got Drew and Chris, that's a duo. You got Josh and 𝐒𝐷𝐿𝐬, that's another duo, but it's PeterBot and high ground. The last remaining duo left in this game that we're mentioning, still alive, putting pressure down from above. 400 medium ammo each. They have the grapples to get down, and if you look at the other side of that coin, nobody has a chance to look up as of now. 𝐒𝐷𝐿𝐬's going in for the elimination, saying, hey, it's now or never. I don't have build. I don't have anything I need. I have to take it from him as he gets the elimination. Josh gets one as well, but PeterBot strikes, taking down 𝐒𝐷𝐿𝐬, bringing it down to a 2v2.
There goes this Siphon to go ahead and cap him right to max HP here. Couple mats drop for Pollo. He wants to make sure that they can go ahead and have enough just to go ahead and keep this pressure down. Shockwaves come out, both sides, and then PeterBot gets sent flying back. He has to jump back in. He's going to go for the fight instead. This grapple keeping him in the game. Flowberry Fizz effect as well. There's the Siphon to go ahead and cap him back off. 9 eliminations, a 1v1. He got the height, 2 mats, 1 mat. Just a final chance now to go ahead and close this one out, Jacob. It can go any way, but if it's PeterBot, you can't count him out. The gunfight is in his favor, and he takes it all home there.
It might have been a long off season for some, but PeterBot and Pollo are back, and they're in their dominant form yet again, winning game 1. They did it in heats, and it looks like history will continue to repeat itself here in the Reload Elite Series. That's game 1. Zeke, I need to know your thoughts.